Now, it's back to the MCG for 3AW's coverage of the round 4 clash between the Dons and the Lions.
Welcome back to the MCG, all thanks to McDonald's. Essendon 7-2-44 at quarter time. Brisbane Lions 2-2-14. Just a little stat though, the Brisbane Lions did trail the Eagles by 27 points in their first game, and got up and won that. They're going to need all of those powers to be replicated here. Essendon all over them. And Geelong by 8 points as we go around the grounds for Meadbank, 35-27. So both sides still in the huddle there, about 2 minutes from breaking up. Before all of that, let's get an injury update as our wonderful grounds person, Jackie Reid, all thanks to Arnold, Thomas and Becker. Jackie, is every clean bill of health? Because I know there was one or two little knocks and bruises you were having a look at.
Yeah, a couple of little niggles down here. One to watch though in this second quarter is Tom Bellchambers. He's had the doctors have a look at his right shoulder throughout this quarter time break. Zaharakis also had a right shoulder problem, but as I said, he was laughing about that one after receiving a bit of treatment, so I think he'll be right to play on. An interesting one was Mitch Robinson took some painkillers halfway through that quarter, so he might be feeling a little bit worse for air as well.
He also saw the light flash across his eyes when Bellchambers just hung that elbow out for a fraction longer, but he missed. No contact there. Lee, why is Essendon 30 points in front?
Well, basically they're breaking even in the clearances and the contested possession stuff, but when they win the ball, they're just bursting with numbers. I mean, Shields is a good example. I mean, Shields is a midfield getter, but he can really run and carry the footy, and the Shield type player is just they're cutting the Lions up because of that speed of ball movement, whereas the Lions, when they get the ball, they just haven't seemed to have the runners that can really break through the Essendon defence.
Every area on the ground, Essendon is dominating. And even the tackles, 18-11, yet they've had a lot more of the footy. So great signs for Essendon, because last week they conceded 18 goals. Today they look sound defensively and look brilliant in attack as well. Let's
start the second quarter for Tyre Power. Essendon 30-point lead.
Umpire Alex Wetton with Dean Margetts and Andrew Mitchell officiating. It's the Lions to the punt road end. It's going to be Essendon, though, mounting the first attack. Redmond, a quick hand pass to Parrish. Bad kick, high ball, and very well marked by Gardner. I thought he was going to spoil, but somehow he came down with it against a much shorter man in McDonald Tippengoody. A short kick, too short, says the umpire. Play on to Rich, back to Gardner by hand, and then a short kick to Christensen. Still at half-back, Members' side. For the Lions, as I said, they're going to the punt road end in term number 2.
Yeah, 30-point lead for Tyre Power. A minute into the second quarter, ball underneath us. Members wing northern side as the ball just runs out of bounds. For ME Bank, the Members Equity Bank at Geelong, it is Geelong pretty comfortable by 9 points at the moment. Big news though is Callan Ward with a potentially bad news, it's certainly not good news. The knee injury looks awful. More to come on that as ball on the wing. Jared Berry tried to spear the handball out. McDonald, Tip and Woody got it and then broke away from the pack. Little tumbler inside attacking 50. Zach Clark tries to knock it onto Fantasia. Oh, it'll be a decent snap if he could get it. In the finish, he has put it out on the full, I'd have thought. They're going to check, but it was a great effort. Anyway, Lloydie, the fact he was able to pick it up, run away from goal and be pushed, all in the one action.
They'd be really concerned, the Brisbane Lions defence, about the space and the way they're being opened up inside forward 50. So I hope they've addressed that.
Their whole defensive mechanisms are poor, aren't they?
Yeah,
that goes from chasing down from defence, locking the ball in your forward line. What happens when the ball spreads into space? At the moment, they're way off the mark compared to Essendon's run.
Quick review of that. Difficult one for the goal umpire. Didn't have time to get position, but it was adjudged out on the full, and that was the right call. Essendon come back in as McGrath picked up the footy out at half forward, swung it forward off hands. It's over the line this time for a throw in right next to the right behind post. Bombers deep in attack. Brisbane cannot afford to be conceding more goals right now, otherwise this game could be gone quick smart. Martin's in the ruck. He carefully nurses it down. Nick Robertson had it, lost it, picked up by McLuggage. He's buried. McGrath's got it from a very difficult angle. He pushed him. Will get a free kick. He missed with his shot at goal on the near side. The ball will be brought back because he was tackled and shunted from behind, and he will line up now, and he has the chance to perhaps use the left foot or run out and kick it off the outside of the right. Man on the mark's only 10 metres out. Off the right, he goes! He did it beautifully. And the Bombers have their 8th, and they have a 6-goal lead. 8-2 to 2-2. 3 minutes in.
Hard to tell whether it's whether Essendon have been a fantastic, the Lions have been poor. But this is sort of the reason, I guess, you thought that Essendon maybe are ready to make their way up into the top 6 in the pre-season. They had those couple of really poor games early, but all of a sudden the speed that seems to characterise their good football is back here today. The speed to tackle, getting to the opposition player quickly when they need to, and then bursting into space when they win position. So they've been possession. They've been impressive.
They have been Brisbane second to the ball all the time. Lockie Neal's won some inside ball, but apart from that, there's not too much to say. Whereas, as I said, the midfield of Essendon has just been dominant.
For ME Bank, as we go around the grounds, it is now a 19-point lead to Geelong, as the long kick from Brisbane from the ruck that time. Martin in toward half forward, but Myers picks it up. Zaharakis receives from hooker, who's down back today. The kick across the ground to the northern side. It's half forward for Brisbane, but Rich being pursued to the boundary line, and by then it actually goes out. Indeed, I'll just do a little bit of correct arithmetic. It's Geelong by 21 points, 48-27 down at Geelong. Here we're 4 minutes into the second quarter, Tim. Essendon 8-2-50, Brisbane 2-2-14, the ball 60 out from Brisbane's goal.
Hodge has got it off a good hand pass from Neal over his head, and it was a legal one. Can't say that for all of them. Quick kick forward by Hodge, and McStay has marked it. And he marked it because he was sticking by the time-honoured virtue of playing in front. The kick fell a little short, and it's his ball. Hurley, the man on the mark, is 30 out, directly in front, and Dan McStay just has to kick this to try and breathe a bit of life into the Lions. To the punt road end, he's pulled it across the goal face for a behind. 8-2-50 Essendon, 2-3-15 to Brisbane on the Tyre Power scoreboard 5 minutes in.
Saad just decides to go very, very short on the kick into Zaharakis. Zaharakis sees someone at the top of the goal square defensive to Hooker. Hooker high beyond half back. Heppel there, Mitch Robinson there at the back. Rich picks it up. He got the ball out quickly that time to Berry, but it's been turned over. McGrath quickly. Parrish, the kick. It's pretty good toward half forward. Mitch Brown's one out. Again, 3 as it turns out. But he was able to win it. Give to Bagley. Handball Zach Clark back to Mitch Brown, who's kicked partially smothered by Andrews. Ball fell to Parrish. He kicks it into the forward pocket. Flirts with the boundary line. Ball goes out of bounds, or it's a free kick in the back. On the full was one of the two. And Gardner to take the free kick. 8-2-50 Essendon. Brisbane 2-3-15, and a lot of work needed to be done. 6 minutes into the second quarter. Timmel, thanks to Tyre Power.
Gardner goes across the goal face quite safely to Zorko, who swings it around the southern half-back flank, and that's a perfectly weighted kick for McCluggage to take the mark between half-back and wing. But that wonderful confidence which the Lions were showing over the first 3 weeks has just dried up a bit here. Kick to Zorko, who quickly got out to the wing. He goes short to Hipwood, who's into the front half, but not by a lot. Long searching kick. No one able to mark. At the back, Mitch Robinson's got it. He sweeps it to Martin, who gives it to Berry. A swinging left foot around the corner is a goal. My golly, they made hard work of it, but they got it in the end. Their third, and the margin's back to 29. 8-2-50 Essendon, 3-3-21 Brisbane.
No coincidence, I think, that Dane Zorko got involved in that chain of play for a couple of possessions. He's the Brisbane Lions player that's most likely to be able to run, carry the line, just break up the play ahead of him. And he got involved in the full back line, got it to the wing. And then this was one of the rare occasions where they got a deep forward quickly. Certainly it was a contest 10 metres out, but at least it was a contest 10 metres out, your ground level support, open goal.
Stephen Martin really believed in the old adage that ruckman shouldn't take snapshots at goal, because the door had opened for him and he gave it off to a man who was no better placed.
Cameron Rayner, another player struggling, just the one disposal. Lee, can he take time in the centre bounce, or he's not ready?
They probably have to, and he's in there for this last one, but he hasn't got the run to be a regular sort of just ball ground covering midfielder, so he's going to be a burst midfielder, but mostly has to be forward third at this stage of his career.
7 gone, second quarter. Essendon by 29 points, and they win it from the restart. Dylan Shield long toward half forward pocket. Walker knocks it away. Goes out the back of the pack and underneath the scoreboard at the city end. 35-40 around from Essendon goal. The ball will get thrown in. So Essendon easily the sharper at the moment. All the goals have been shared around. Oh, that's a shallow throw in. Rucking and roving Bellchambers. The snap was excellent. Right on the goal line defensively was Harris Andrews with a lovely kick beyond defensive 50, and Jared Berry has it for the Brisbane Lions.
Yeah, Harris Andrews just waiting for that kick that fell short. I know you don't trust people with two surnames, Tone, but he's pretty safe.
Well, Noel Gordon.
They work at the Mitch Robinson,
That's
who kicks into midfield, off a pack Berry, who started that, gives to Rayner, who does get a feel of the footy, to McStay, all by hand though, and the Bombers now hold them up pretty well. And once again, they're just chipping it, trying to set something up. They give to Witherden, who swings it to half forward. Cameron takes a very good mark, running full ball, lunging forward, got it low to the grass. Good ball to the goal square. Oh, fumble by McInerney. He was 2 metres out if he'd taken it cleanly, and it's gone through for a rush behind. It's 50-22, Bombers by 28 points.
Yeah, that's a long way down there, Tim.
Yeah, it is, but their last 3 or 4 minutes, brilliant signs for Brisbane. Some players getting their hands on the footy. Zorko, Rayner getting a little touch there. Then Lyons is another player struggling, just the one touch as well.
The kick towards the wing. Essendon have come up with it. Mitch Brown, defensive handball to Myers. They want to set it up. Zaharakis in a bit of touch. Just a little defensive one back to Dylan Shield, who can just send it back to Zaharakis.
Been useful, Mitch Brown, hasn't he? Yeah, I mean, he's just the running forward. It's almost a centre-half forward type, but he's doing well.
I'd call him old-fashioned, Lee.
Old-fashioned
socks down, yeah.
Yeah.
Bit like Greg Park. I reckon Greg Park can take and grab and ran all day. The kick from David Myers was good to Bellchambers, to a running Merritt inside 50. Zach Clark for the Bombers has it. Almost shoveled it that time to McDonald, Tip and Woody. It's 35 out Essendon's goal. Hands and knees McInerney tried to give to Witherden. He's tackled, brought to the ground, and Essendon get a stoppage. Lloyd in a beautiful position, 45 out from goal, basically in the corridor, and they lead by 28 points.
Yeah, it's a frustrating part for Chris Fagan, just the ease at which they ran the ball down to this front part for Essendon. They need to control the ball for a while, Brisbane.
Bombers have got it. Zaharakis did well to manage a kick forward. It's Bagley, cleverly a two-hander down to Brown for a snap goal, and that's as good an assist as you'll see. And Essendon go further ahead. It's back out to 34, 9-2-56 to 3-4-22 on the Tyre Power scoreboard, 10.5 minutes in.
Funny, you watch games of footy sometimes, you think the footy's broken for that side, and today the bounce of the ball is favouring Essendon quite often on those, erratic bounces. Sometimes the ball bounces along, sometimes straight up, but the ball bounced to the advantage of Essendon, and then they made it work. So the footy gods with the Bombers, I reckon, so far in this first half.
And you just spoke about Mitch Brown earlier. He's working extremely hard and getting the rewards for it. But as I said, Brisbane, they'd worked so hard for 4 or 5 minutes, but they allowed an easy exit out of their forward line, gets into Essendon's forward line, and suddenly they score. When Brisbane had that momentum, that's a big goal to give up.
50th career goal, Mitch Brown, 2 today, and a genuine hard worker. Essendon by 34 points, back in the middle of the ground. Bellchambers tap. Dylan Shield getting better week on week. Generous handball to Fantasia, to Paris, to Fantasia, too quick. Went past him. Devon Smith caught, holding the ball, free kick Brisbane. Just that one little last bit, Lloydie, and then they're off to the races as the ball comes to the wing northern side. McCluggage received from Christensen under pressure. The handball well picked up by Reece Matheson. Neat pass to wing half forward. Probably more wing on the northern side. Stephen Martin has it. Just a little chip pass, and not 30 up the ground, 20 up the ground. Christensen has it. 12 gone. Tyre Power scoreboard as he can go short. And Tyre Power expert Russell at Essendon Tyre Power, Keilor Road in Nidri. Bring you the second quarter. The kick that time, McCluggage to half forward. McStay wants to claim it, but there's a free kick the Bombers' way. And Hookett decided just not to pick it up. I like him. I prefer him
to try, but I don't think he's going to get away from that one.
Should be brought 50 the other way for that.
Well, exactly. Penalised. I like him down back. Lloyd, are you better with him down back or up forward?
Yeah, down back. He's an All-Australian centre-half back. I know he kicked 30 goals, but he's never going to be an All-Australian centre-half forward.
13 minutes gone, second quarter. Essendon by 34 points. What a nice kick, Tim, to half-back. And the skipper, Heppel, has it for the Bombers.
He chips into the corridor and he finds Redmond, who stabs it bravely straight across ground. I say bravely because Berry was coming back down the ground in the general direction, but Ridley was able to mark and kick to Merritt. Southern side between half-back and wing. A little poker over the top to Parrish. Now the sweeping hand pass puts Zaharakis in space. He goes straight up the line. Stringer dropped an absolute sitter. And the ball falls over the line for a throw-in. And such is life when you support a team for which Jake Stringer plays.
Yeah, but too straightforward. Running and marking on your chest. He wants 8 to beat 8 against the boundary line. Non-preferred. That's it. It's inside attacking 50, though, for the Bombers. Dare I say it, a cheap suiting Brisbane and then some as Heppel knocks the ball out to Merritt, still in attacking 50. Handball from Smith goes back to Zaharakis. Handball well done. Sard sidesteps against the boundary line. Good handball to Merritt. Then to Smith. Shield kicks, smothered, but not turned over as yet. Zaharakis goes again, battles hard. Walker picks it up. Hodge, he handballed to Witherden and put him in awful pressure. Oh, son, you're over the ball. You're over. He's all right, though.
I think he put himself under pressure, Tone, because he fumbled it. As soon as you fumble in modern footy, the pressure just jumps on your back.
Gee, Bombers can set it up beautifully here, Tim. 30 out from their goal, dead in front, lead by 34.
That was a real fumble. McDonald Tippenwoody's got it off a Martin fumble at the ruck contest. But the snapshot is offline through for a behind. It's 9-3 to 3-4. The Bombers by 35 points with a chopper overhead. You can almost hear the music from MASH in the background. Tone,
yeah.
I don't know whether you'd be prepared to nominate, but what is the cheapest suit in town? Got any idea?
Well, I have had a look, but sadly they don't go up to my size. So I sort of have to go to someone who generously does it, plus plenty on if I want one.
Witherden, long ball back into play, but it's coming back in a hurry. Merritt to Zaharakis. Devon Smith near the boundary with the left. Just did he clip the post or just miss on the near side? It was a very good attempt. Minor score. The lead exactly 6 goals. Essendon 9-4, Brisbane 3-4 on the Tyre Power scoreboard. 15 minutes gone, second term. Don't forget Winks in its last race coming up, only a couple of minutes away.
Lloyd, I'm going to put something to you that it just seems that the spark you'd be hoping Brisbane is showing, it's almost as if this is genuinely a bridge too far today.
Yeah, just Bombers 26-15 inside 50s, 8-4 this quarter, so you're hoping for a response.
Yeah.
But contested possession, it's all Essendon, so I'm wrapped for Essendon in regards to their ability to defend as well as attack. It's been a really good balance today, just been far too good for the Lions the first bounce.
We'll be taking Winks in a matter of moments. Witherden wins at half back. Gardner, who's battled hard, tries to find 130 up the ground, but the task is beyond him. 58-22, 9-4 to 3-4.
The tall defence always looks solid when Hurley and Hooker are both in that part of the ground. Very rarely the opposition big forward's going to be able to get on top of you.
So ball tossed on the wing, Tim, and Essendon through Shield are going to win it out the back. The handball's all right to Redmond, goes long for the Bombers.
They're dominating this game. It's hard to see Brisbane coming back, especially with a hand pass like that from Walker, which turned it over, but Hodge is good enough to get it back for Brisbane. Kick sideways to Robinson. Now out to the wing to Neal, who bombs it into the front half. Not very deep into the front half. There's an Essendon player down below us, hurt. Picked up by Neal again, gives to McCluggage. A searching left footer, but finds absolutely nothing. But Heppel, who with his left foot just manages to nurse it to Merritt. Hand pass to Parrish. Kick forward, won't hit a target. Nick Robertson gives to Witherden for Brisbane. He kicks flat, direct, but Hipwood ran under it. And it is marked by Ridley, a short to man, and there's a 50-metre penalty for the Bombers. That's a big win. It'll bring them forward to the centre with a kick to come.
Lee, a bit like Matthew, do you actually sense that almost everything's gone? The air's just gone out of the game?
Well, Essendon's been dominating. So the question is, can Lions persevere enough to just gradually wind them back? Because Essendon are growing by the moment.
Mitch Brown on the lead, goes long, and it's just touched on the... Kicked at 55 metres, it's touched and one behind results. 9-5-59 to the Lions, 3-4-22. And one wonders, Tim, whether district cricket rules should be invoked. Melbourne Cup Day, they stop at 3 o'clock for no matter what the state of play. Do you think everyone at the game should actually stop now?
I think Parliament does for the Cup, doesn't it? It has done over the years.
Certainly, that ball.
The champion mare has just gone in. They've jumped. Let's pick it up courtesy of Channel 7.
Massive roar to the crowd. She's going to settle in last, Winks. And Hartnell was first out. Mascot Times mustering. So's Harlem. Happy Clapper handy. He's Eminence back last. Kluger runs handy fifth, and Winks is moving forward. Bowman wants a better spot. Gets in front of Shillelagh. He's Eminence back second last. Many thought he would lead. Dances last. Mascot Time goes to the mile. Has the lead all on his own here from Harlem, and Hartnell's got the box seat third. 2 off then to the 8-year-old Happy Clapper. 2 further back to Kluger. And there's Winks, 1 off the fence now. Has He's Eminent in a pocket back on the fence. Then came Shillelagh. And Dance. 10 off the leaders last. It's the big roughie. Mascot Time in front of the 1200. Out by 2 lengths on Harlem. Hartnell with a great run third. 2 off to Happy Clapper. Then came Kluger. 3/4 the outside Winks. Very relaxed in the run. Bowman sitting very quiet. He's Eminent back. McDonald just easing back a little bit. It looks as though he's trying to find a way out off the fence. Then came Shillelagh. And Dance last. No surprises yet. They've got 900 to run. Mascot Time a length clear from Harlem. Then Hartnell, Happy Clapper. Now he starts the run on Winks. He's starting to move forward. Just shading Kluger. Then He's Eminent still positioned back on the inside of Shillelagh, and Dance coming to the turn. The roughing Mascot Time 2 lengths clear. Hartnell goes to second, giving chase. Now Happy Clapper, and Winks is rounding them up, coming right around the field. Kluger takes an inside run. She's gone for home already, Winks. She beats up Hartnell. Kluger going up the inside. Happy Clapper can't go on. Winks is 2 lengths clear. Kluger sticks on. Then came Hartnell, but she's well clear, Winks, inside the final 100 metres. Today we farewell an Australian icon, the greatest of all time. Winks wins a third. Queen Elizabeth beats Kluger. Hartnell third.
Well, she completed it. She did it, Winks. And if that's the farewell, what a way to go out winning the Queen Elizabeth.
Got any idea what's happened in the footy in the last 90 seconds?
Hasn't been a score. Still 9-5 to 3.
Hasn't been a score, but I'll bring you all back as McDonald, Tip and Woody's against the boundary line. He is 48 metres out City End. He's kicked 2. He looks like he's going to have a direct shot. Will he change his mind? No. Has a fly. It looks to be going across the face of goal. There are big leapers everywhere. Ball didn't go out. So Tim Brisbane can actually move it. Back pocket. Picked up Lockie Neal, and here's pass. Does it stay in the field of play? Yes, it does. And the Lions have it. Lincoln McCarthy sort of at half-back but outside defensive 50 going to the punt road end. The scores for Tyre Power. Essendon 9-5-59. Brisbane 3-4-22.
That was an extraordinary couple of minutes. We were absolutely lost in what was happening at Randwick while the footy match that we are supposed to be covering was happening below us, but no change as the Lions work it around half-back. And Daniel Rich has taken a mark, and he prods on a little pass to Mitch Robinson between half-back and wing. Members' side. It's the Bombers by 37 points. It's going to take a massive reversal from Brisbane to get back into this. Robinson kicks towards the wing. McInerney did well, third in line to get a fist onto it. Picked up though for the Bombers by Hooker. Go to Zaharakis, backwards to Hurley. Just treads water, has a look, then kicks long, too long. Robinson in bravely. McDonald, Tip and Woody weighted down. Might have bombed from a long way. Ran it into Bagley though. Hand pass to Stringer. Round the corner. More his style, Tone.
Yeah.
But he misses. Minor score. It's 9-6-60 to 3-4. 22. Essendon by 38.
Jackie Reid for McGregor Portables.
Tom Bell-Chambers has just gone down into the rooms with the doctor. It might well be that right shoulder that was giving him troubles at quarter time.
With it and marked the short kick in, but Essendon, no, in fact, Heppel's given away a free kick there. And it goes to McCluggage, half-back, southern side. Beyond the wing they go.
Double. Sorry.
Keep going, no, go on, Tim.
I was going to say a front-on arm chop, which is doubly reprehensible, of course.
Yep. So Lincoln McCarthy on the wing had it, but under pressure. The handball just went straight in the air. I think we have to get a stoppage now. We do on the wing. So let's reset everything. For Tyre Power, power of expert advice. Russell at Essendon Tyre. If you're out in the northwest, Essendon Tyre Power, Keilor Road, Nedbury. It is 23 minutes gone. Essendon 9-6-60. Brisbane Lions 3-4-22. And I think there's an in-the-back free kick on the wing, Tim, and it's going to go Brisbane's way.
Yeah, it was even money each of 2. It was either going to be Neil or Nick Robertson because they were both infringed. And it will be Neil who was closer to goal, so maybe it was the Robertson one that brought about the umpire's whistle. Kick to Zorko, long ball up to the forward pocket, no one can mark. Essendon's footy, hooker, a little hand pass, stolen by Mitch Robinson, who never stops trying, regardless of what's on the board. And here he's tackled, taken to ground, and there'll be a ball up 30 out, 45-degree angle from Brisbane's goal front at the punt road end.
Half time down Geelong for ME Bank. It is a 21-point margin Geelong's way. So a little kick that to half-back Essendon. Dylan Shield having a blinder. Sees a man, middle of the ground. That's Bagley. He knocks it over. Tippin Woody's near enough home free. The bounce, well, slow to get there. So a free kick. Now, I reckon that's clever play. The big kick is going to go back to Bagley, who was held onto for too long. But to be fair, Matthew, I think it really stopped them breaking away.
It did, and sometimes you've got to do that, Brisbane, because it's amazing how Brisbane can't get any flow whatsoever, and whenever Essendon grab it, it's just run, carry straight through the corridor. So it's done a number on them today.
So a floater. Oh, it's going to fall into the arms of Tippin Woody from Bagley. So eventually Lee had ended up where it was meant to get to 30 seconds ago.
Yeah, it did. I mean, that was basically because he was in the front position, Tippin Woody. It was a poor kick that just dropped short. But if you're in the front position, you get advantage by those.
Just thinking, Lee, you were talking about Stephen Hawking and the conversation you had at the airport.
Yeah.
The thing that would change the game for the best is for Essendon to win the premiership playing this sort of footy, because it's good to watch. It's free-flowing, it's attacking. Anthony Tippin Woody kicks long, and he has got it home. Only just, but he's done it for his third goal. And the Bombers lead by 44 points before half-time. 10-6, 66 to Brisbane 3-4, 22 on the Tyre Power scoreboard.
Yes, I mean, it really is interesting. I mean, it's basically, there's partly leg speed, partly quickness of ball movement, but that's why Essendon on their good days, when they're actually winning the contest okay, or at least breaking even in the contest, when the ball gets into the flow, and Dylan Shield will even add to that, won't he, Lloyd? Because he's that type of player. The ability as a midfielder to run and provide the link. So they look so quick on their good days. I saw them rounds 1 and 2. Their speed didn't become a factor because they just weren't able to get the ball into space. But when they can win the contest and rebound off the back half, that's when their speed really becomes a factor.
Yeah, it's interesting, like a player like Jared Lyons just can't get in the game, being burnt off for speed, so he's just had the one touch so far this afternoon.
Play restarts, middle of the ground, toe poke from Cameron, tried to get it to Berry, but Dylan Shield again, middle of the ground. Long to centre half forward. David Myers, I think, got a shove in the back. A little bit of fancy footwork that time for Fantasia. Ball ended up with Devon Smith. Oh, ball just stopped in the turf. Bagley keeps it alive. They didn't want to concede the behind. Bagley really battled hard then. Luke Hodge, last line of defence, just has to kick it away. Great vision though, all of 60 odd metres. The Brisbane Lions can bring the ball up towards the wing, or near enough to the wing. Lincoln McCarthy, round the body he goes. Awful kick, should be turned over. As again Dylan Shield involved. Handball to Redmond under pressure. Knocks it that time to Hooker. Hooker, the handball goes back towards McKenna, back towards Redmond. Ball out of bounds right in front of you there, Jackie, for Arnold Thomas and Becca Lawyers. Police injury update.
Tom Bell-Chambers has come back out from the rooms. He's still sort of wincing around that right shoulder, and Adam Sard was bleeding above his left eye, and that's getting cleaned up.
Bombers supporters will be enjoying this down there, Jackie.
Oh, they absolutely are, including myself.
at the throw-in, Clark's got it. I wasn't going to mention any names, but you've done it for me, as Zorko gets a little kick forward, and there will be a push in the back free kick Bombers' way. Essendon fans ready to tear down the grandstand. They're only 44 points up, and they reckon they've been a bit hard done by there. And they're having a look at a replay now, and they're even more convinced. Neil will take it just forward of the centre. Played on, got himself into trouble. Kick might be all right. Hipwood attacked it, but it was a bit of a mongrel kick, and he couldn't mark it. He lays a big tackle on Bagley, and Hipwood finished up going to ground himself.
Ambrose didn't like the tackle. It remonstrated.
It was a dumping sort of tackle, but Hipwood comes out of it with a free kick. 45 out, the man on the mark.
Oh, a bit of suplex.
Well, Neil got the free kick for the dump tackle, and in the next stage of play, a dump tackle was basically just let go. That was why the Essendon fans thought this is not consistency.
What's suplex, Toast?
Oh, it's a wrestling terminology where you pick someone up and you throw them on the ground.
Oh, okay.
We know it as suplex. A lot of people think he's just thrown him to the ground.
Hipwood just been able to have impact after his 6-goal performance last week, and he has no impact here. None at all. He missed everything out on the full. It's a free kick to the Bombers. 27 and a half gone, and Essendon lead by 44.
Hey, Tim, you can tell that crowd. They know glassware at the Royal tonight. They don't have to bring out the plastic pots tonight, Lloydie. They will be there. 44 points is the lead, and they are fair dinkum flogging Brisbane at the moment. As Merritt, wonderful, just a little chain across the last line of defence, found the way to Hurley. Minute 59 to go to half-time. 44 points the margin. Tim, a famous one in football, to the wing. Zach Clark presents himself, recovers first, front of the pack though, knocked away by Zorko towards half forward, full forward. Everyone starts to look around. Lincoln McCarthy shrugged a tackle, wants to square, top of the square, it's a good kick. Pack collapses. Who's going to recover first? Essendon with run, Tim, can run it at half-back. One bounce, two bounces. Smith can just wait and go very, very slowly, methodically, precisely to McDonald, Tip and Woody. 29 minutes gone, final quarter. He's happy just to burn some clock. Back to Hurley. 10-6-66 Tyre Power scoreboard. Lions 3-4-22 and the ball safely moved. A series of passes to half-back on the southern side.
And David Zaharakis, who just keeps bobbing up. And he kicks short to Redmond, who takes the mark. Between half-back and wing, stuttered off the mark and then tried to change his mind. The umpire said too late. He kicks short to Ambrose, just behind the centre. Runs forward, kicks long, one-on-one. Fantasia used the body on Walker, ran onto the spillage and kicked a goal and sends them spiralling into ecstasy at the MCG. They are anticipating the Royal Standard Tone, is it?
No, just the Royal.
The Royal?
Yeah, just down from the Essendon Footy Club. No plastic. There is
Never had a beer on that side of town.
No plastic pots tonight. That's normally the case after a loss.
50-point lead in the last minute of the first half.
It says it all, didn't it? Fantasia was only a small medium. Josh Walker was a direct match-up. And in the one-on-one contest, Fantasia leaned into Walker. Walker just went out of the contest. And then Fantasia, beautiful snap over his shoulder after that for the goal.
11-6-72 the Bombers, 3-4-22 for Tyre Power. It is a 21-point lead, game about to resume shortly enough down at the Cattery. But here, this is good to watch. This is a real statement made by Essendon. Charlie Gardner, one that goes wide to the southern wing to Christensen, back to Lyons. As Lions look for a lead 20 up the ground, they're going to find one there. Dane Zorko. There's just not a great deal on offer at the moment. Desperately need one late. They trail by 50 points. Being told now by the umpire to get on with it. Clock might beat them. Wide to the forward pocket they go. Jared Berry tries to knock the ball down. Hitwood tried to get to him. Berry, the handball. Matheson through traffic. Did he draw the high contact? He did. He has beaten it by a micro millisecond, and that will be a direct shot as Matheson was grabbed high.
He's the best there is just about in the game at that one, Reece Matheson, the old Joel Selwood shrug.
He has graduated from the University of Selwood with honours.
Yeah, he's from Geelong too, this boy, but the crowd's booing again. This is a pressure kick for Matheson.
Well, God, they trail by 50 points. He's only 25-30 out at the most, slight angle only. Goes back. Brisbane, they haven't got that many supporters here. You know what's happened. That wasn't you, Beauty. You've kept us alive. It was up yours, mate. You missed. 3-5-23 Brisbane. Essendon a long way in front, 11-6-72. How fabulous it is for the rest of us to have them back. And just a little bit of strut about the Bomber supporters today, and why not? It's been a wonderful first half. 3 goals to McDonald, Tip and Moody, a couple of Mitch Brown, a couple of Fantasia. 11-6-72. Brisbane Lions 3-5-23. Second quarter was brought to you by Russell at Essendon Tyre Power up at Keilor Road, Nidri. Mike Barrick for the Bombers. Get the power of expert advice and lower prices at Tyre Power. And call in and say good day to Russell up there at Essendon Tyre Power. So it has been a wonderful half performance, a great performance so far by the Bombers. Winks kept her part of the bargain up. We'll catch up with Ross Stevenson too during the half-time break. A great breakfast host from Mornings on 3AW, who has been there to witness it all. And Brisbane with some deep soul-searching. Geelong 3.5 goals in front at half-time. We'll get to the half-time wrap ever so shortly, all thanks to McDonald's. Score a Big Mac meal and cheeseburger for just $5.95 at Macca's through Macquarie Sports Radio up and down the east coast of Australia. You were listening to 3AW Football.
Footy highlights brought to you by McDonald's.
McDonald tipping good. He started the year badly, came good last week, starts well here.
Stringer. Got it in the pack. From 20, he has banged it through and Essendon away. Shield to Merritt, clean hands, 50 out, long and goal. Will it carry? You bet it does.
McLuggage runs onto it, the hands are clean, the left foot kick is good, and the Lions have their first. Bagley cleverly a two-hander down to Brown for a snap goal, and that's as good an assist as you'll see.
She's well clear, Winks, inside the final 100 metres. Today we farewell an Australian icon, the greatest of all time.
Big afternoon so far, plenty to come on 3AW and Macquarie Sport Radio. Welcome back to the MCG. This is the halftime wrap for Sheen Panel Service. And when the unexpected happens on the road, choose Sheen Panel Service as your repairer. The state of the play so far. Halftime, Essendon dominant, 11-6-72. Brisbane, 3-5-23. Around the grounds for ME Bank. It is third quarter action. Geelong, 8-8-56. This is after around about 7 minutes, 8 minutes into the third quarter. Giants have come back a bit, 8-3-21. And an incident which will be looked at appears that Patrick Dangerfield has made some contact with Matt de Boer, the significance of which to be determined, but certainly something that is being looked at. Let's concentrate just for a moment because we're going to hear from Hugh Bowman and Chris Waller, part of the halftime wrap for Sheen Panel Service. 11-6-72 Essendon, Brisbane 3-5-23. Lloydie, Lee, please, just a couple of minutes on this because it really is one-way traffic.
Speed kills. I remember it was a saying back in the day when I first got to Essendon. We were sponsored by the TAC, and we used it as a bit of a logo for how we wanted our teams to play. And in regards to the Bombers today, they have just blown the Lions out of the park with their foot skills, their speed, but also their pressure. So you look at players, Zach Merritt, 21 disposals, 4 clearances and a goal. Zaharakis, 18 disposals. Dylan Shield, 18, 6 clearances. Been brilliant. McDonald, Tip and Woody, 3 goals. Pace. Even Redmond's shown pace off half back. Fantasia, 2 goals. So it's amazing that the pace that they've got, Lee. And then on the flip side of that, Lockie Neal's probably been Brisbane's best player, but he's not quick. And all the pacey players for Brisbane, Charlie Cameron hasn't got into the game. Trying to look at who else has got some speed.
Charlie Cameron's mainly going to play forward 50, isn't he, Morty? So that's the point. You're looking at the Lions side from the sort of the back 2/3 and say, who are the guys who can sort of just resist the pressure and run away from the congestion? And Essendon have got half a dozen of them, and the Lions are struggling to even find one. Zorko's probably the only one, and he's started to work his way into the game, but really the bird had flown.
This is the halftime wrap for Sheen Panel Service. A 49-point margin at halftime. 11-6-72 to 3-5-23. 49 is the margin. Ross Stevenson has witnessed it all at Randwick. Roscoe, great to talk to you. Please capture the moment of the last 10 minutes. Roscoe. I can hear him in the background. So we'll just hang on, boys. You just get Roscoe back online, please. Here's Hugh Bowman post-race.
Hugh Bowman, you did it, mate. How do you feel? What are the emotions like?
It's over, isn't it? I mean, very mixed. So proud to be a part of it. And, it's been very real for me all day with the amount of people here. It's just amazing, and everyone watching around the world, Chris. America, Europe, Africa, all over Australia. This horse has captured the hearts of a lot of people around the globe, and there's really nothing more for me to say. I mean, she just showed you what she's capable of doing, and I dare say if she had something else to catch, she had more to give, but maybe we'll never know how good she really is.
It's an interesting comment, because what she's done, as Hugh pointed out, didn't have anything to catch, and how good she has been. Her limit we'll never know. Roscoe, you witnessed something special. Welcome.
Yes, thank you. There's a lot of people on phones here. I think the phone was very unreliable. It's been extraordinary. I don't know how much I've heard what I had to say last. Other than the when she got back after the race, swung around and hit Huey Bowman in the face, so he's got blood everywhere.
Right.
Attending to a wound that the great man has given him. But I was thinking that when he hopped off, I imagine it probably occurred to him that is the last time he will ever be on her back again, and that must be hugely emotional for him. Chris Waller, obviously, they let him lead the horse back in, which traditionally he hasn't done, but Chris is probably going to come up for a drink a bit later on, so if I can get the phone in his hand, I'll give you a call.
Roscoe, just one more, because I know how difficult it is at the moment, but just coming up the rise, I thought to myself, well, he's under a double wrap, but I just didn't know whether she was going to accelerate away, and it looked as if she really ground out, as if you can call it grinding out, but I just thought it was a convincing enough win, but I expected her to put 4 or 5 on him and didn't quite do that.
No, and that Japanese horse in second place stuck on a bit longer than everyone thought it would. You've also got the thing that you don't want to see her ridden out, and you most certainly don't want to see her struck with a whip. There are sort of limits as to what Huey Bowman can do.
Exactly, and do it she did. Roscoe, just as I leave you, how's the afternoon so far? Because there's more than one race and you don't back $1.10 chances.
I'm in front time, which is, I don't know how I've quite managed to do it. And there's a horse race on at Thornfield at the moment. We'll see whether the Negro man can win for me. But I'm in front, lad, and that's the most important thing.
Excellent stuff. We'll try and get you throughout the afternoon if possible. Thank you, Roscoe. Here's Chris Waller post-race on Channel 7 with Hamish McLaughlin.
Well, Chris, there she is, and here they all are. The fairy tale ends just as we'd all hoped.
Yeah, it sure has. I haven't thought to think about winning a race like today ever in my lifetime, and it's just such a special moment to share it with not only my beautiful wife, my beautiful children, but the beautiful people that have been right behind Winks, whether they're here at Randwick today, but all around Australia, New Zealand, the world. Thank you very much. I can't describe her in words, but thanks for appreciating her for what she is.
Beautifully said, and nothing need be added.
I think that $2 for Winks winning and Chris Waller shedding a tear got home.
It certainly did. What a brilliant way to finish it up, and there'll be a stack written and spoken about her, and we'll be certainly covering on 3AW. The halftime wrap machine panel service. It is 11-6-72 the Bombers, the Brisbane Lions 3-5-23. It is still Geelong by 5 points against the Giants, 62-57 for ME Bank as we go around the grounds each and every week for ME Bank. So with the Little Leaguers just about to wrap it all up, we'll go into further details about the first half here at the MCG when we return. If Relays would like to clear their commitment, now is the time to do so. For those of you who are staying on, let us head to the national news up at the 3AW newsroom. And it is a great good afternoon to Melissa Polomini.